Imagine leaning on a scientifically proven website layout and tripling your growth and sales as a result. That's exactly what Mike did. His secret? He figured out what real users were up to on his site, where they were getting stuck and why they were ultimately jumping ship. Then he fixed it. And the way he figured all this out was through some really fancy eye tracking software that showed literally where people were looking and what they were ignoring. And the really cool thing is, you don't have to pay for studies and tests on your own website because many other businesses have gone before you and the science is already in. And as it turns out, people are kind of predictable, which means experts now know the optimal layout, where things should go on just about any website for maximum impact. All you need to do is put your most important stuff where we already know they're looking. And in this video, I'm going to show you 5 layout tricks that all add up to a scientifically perfect website, and I'm going to show you exactly how to use each to play right into their hand. Before we can go any further here, there's one overarching truth that you need to understand. People aren't settling in to read your website like it's the next Harry Potter book. It's much more like your website's a billboard they pass in the desert on the way to Vegas. They're looking for signs, signals that you've got what they need. If they don't see those signs in that brief moment, they're zooming right on past. On my own website, I tell visitors what I do right off the bat. Learn from me and we'll put your website to work for your business. It's just a 1-sentence summary of what you get when you keep reading. It addresses the pain driving your audience and says, hey, business owner, you've landed on the right solution. For me, I help business owners generate more profit and clients from their websites, and I don't mince words about it. But what should you write there? Just take the advice of legendary copywriter David Ogilvy. He says that when you've written your headline, you've spent 80 cents out of your dollar. Big headlines draw the eye, and they're where the money's made. Put as much energy as you can into writing this one sentence. And my best tip is to be clear, not clever. Your goal isn't to impress your competition, it's to beat them. It's cool to have an impressive website, but it's better to have an effective one, which means making more sales. And you can't do that without clarity. And speaking of clarity, if you haven't taken my free masterclass yet, where I show you exactly how to turn your website into an automated client generating machine for your business, this is the best possible time to get in on that to gear up for 2024. It's going to take all the guesswork out of what your website needs and what you should actually be leaving out that probably is going to hurt your chances of making sales and landing clients. So to get it, just go to wesmcdowell.com/training to sign up for free. Picture the old days, way before the internet was a thing and newsstands were on every city street. Newspapers were king in those days, and if you were a headline, you wanted to be above the fold. That's right, the top half of the front page, folded up and facing out into the world. It's where editors put the most gripping stories, the breaking news, the headlines that made people stop and want to buy a copy. But fast forward to today, and your website is that front page. The most crucial content? It's gotta be above the fold, just like those riveting headlines of the past, because we know this to be true. People will scroll, but only if what's above the fold tells them they're in the right place. So how do you master your above the fold section for a great first impression? You wanna create an immediate hook that the eye can land on. That's why the meat of your message needs to be in the hero section, above the fold, at the very top of your website before they have to do any scrolling. When a visitor clicks on your site, you've got about 5 seconds to give them that quick hit. What you do, why it matters, and what they need to do to get it. Now, a hero section always has a few elements. Your main headline, where you emphasize either the value, result, or transformation that you use to entice your customers. This is the answer to why it matters, right? Then your subheadline is the supporting statement. How do you create a result that your customers would want? Here's a great example of an above the fold section that hits on a result. In this case, tax reduction. But people might read that and still be like, okay, well, how do you do that for me though? So she goes into exactly what she provides to get them those tax reductions right here in the subheadline. Now your goal here is to communicate 2 things. Work with us and you'll get this amazing transformation, and here's how we do it. Below that, your call to action button should be specific. Not click here, but schedule a free consultation or download this lead magnet. Of course, there's one thing that each of these elements have in common that you may not have noticed. They're all on the left, and that's no accident, because in the Western world, we read left to right. So this habit is just so ingrained in us, we don't even think about it when we do it. Now, think about someone who's just casually surfing the web. They're not reading every sentence down to the last word. Their eyes are fluttering around, hunting for a sentence to grab onto. And they have to grab the beginning of sentences. That's why users spend about 80% more time with their eyes on the left side of the page, and it's why the left side sucks up all the attention. So don't get cute with right-hand menus or left-hand hero images. You're just gonna end up fighting your visitors' instincts. And do this everywhere. Do you have a 2-column section? Put the service that you wanna highlight on the left. If you're building an About Us section, put the text on the left and your image on the right. If you're building your website's hero section, put your header, subheader, and CTA button all on the left side. So if we're supposed to put all the important stuff on the left, what do you put on the right? Empty space would just look kind of weird. Even though we spend 80% more time looking at the left side, everything above the fold is still prime real estate, and it should communicate good things about your business. There's this usability guru named Jakob Nielsen, and according to the eye tracking studies that he's done, image quality is a significant factor in drawing attention. Specifically, he found a few things. So first, big, wide images are more appealing to most people, meaning they look at them longer than they do at small images. And people photos with faces get the most attention. So you'll probably want nice, full-width shots of what I call the happy customer photo. High-resolution, high-quality images are the most striking here, but don't think that they need to be 100% glamour shots either. If the customer in the photo doesn't look like a model, that's even better. Nielsen actually says that if you put real people in these images and avoid the stock photos, they're way more attention grabbing. Nielsen says a call center ad with a model in it on the phone may be a good picture technically, but it's gonna most likely get ignored. And he gave another tip from his research, which is to have the person in this photo facing forward. They'll look more inviting and approachable, which is exactly what you want right next to your call to action. You don't have to overthink this because otherwise it comes across as cheesy and inauthentic. No crazy smiles, no fist bumping or jumping for joy, just a happy customer looking like they're happy or even just satisfied that they chose your business. Make sure your photo is at least 1 column wide so that it's strong enough. And if you have higher resolution, it's less likely you'll get those blurry, pixelated photos that make you look unprofessional. That's it. What do you do if you want to get people to read something longer, like a sales landing page or an About Us section? It's a little counterintuitive, but think big. Studies show that visibly bigger intro paragraphs improve attention. In one study, 95% of test subjects faced with a bigger opening paragraph did view all or part of it. So my super simple trick is to just bump up the size of the first sentence of your first paragraph. This draws the reader in. It says, hey, pay attention, this message is actually important. And spend some time on that sentence. Talk about the most compelling pain that your visitors are feeling. Then start bolding key phrases around the rest of it to feed those skimming readers the key phrases that you really want them to see. And if you're unsure which phrases to bold, just ask yourself, if someone's only gonna read 3 key ideas here, what do I want them to take away? Bold those ideas. You've now got skimmable but engaging long-form content, and you're outsmarting the websites who think every paragraph needs to be just 1 sentence. And if you want your website to be as scientifically perfect as possible, there's still a lot you need to know to turn it into a finely tuned client-generating machine for your business. So click right here to save your seat inside my free masterclass, the Automated Clients on Demand Website Blueprint, where I'm going to show you exactly what you need to make that happen. And it's a whole lot easier than you might think. So click right here and I'll save you a seat.